So the cover page, you can go ahead and skip there onto the next one there.
Sorry, just takes a moment to get all the windows going.
You're all right.
Yeah.
So we're at the mercy of technology today. I wish the Rep Barkus would have stayed on, and we had to add the photo of Rep 5 from the annual meeting. So this was the annual meeting, 127th annual that we had at Local 242. As you can see, we had a great meeting. It was a hybrid meeting. We had about 40 individuals here in person at Local 242, and we had around 40 online. So about 80 folks took part in the 127th annual meeting. We had all four corners of the Transportation Committee space here. Senator King, Senator Leas, Rep Barkus, Rep Phi. We had Rep Lowe as well, Julie Meredith. We had representation from the governor's office on the transportation space there. So it was a great meeting in all, and we had a lot of partners. We had a partner panel with a lot of folks from the Freight Mobility Board, cities, counties, all that kind of stuff. So it was a great meeting in all. I think you could still view it on our website. Is that right, Noelle?
I'm not sure. I'd have to double check. I know the slides that are up, but I'm not sure about the video.
Okay. If anybody wants to go back and view that, reach out to us. We can probably get you a copy of that. So on to the next slide. I'll push right along here. So as you probably know, most of y'all that's still on the call here are probably taking part of one of our Wednesday morning meetings, but we meet traditionally, our executive board and others meet every Wednesday morning, right? And we talk about things as far as planning our next meetings or advocacy work that we want to do. And this was a letter here on the right that we crafted. After our annual meeting and the panel that we had that brought a lot of our different associations together, CRAB, TIB, FinCIB, a lot of these other associations, we met for several weeks and we thought about important things that we want to see in the 2026 session. And Good Roads crafted a letter and sent it over to the legislature on January 15th. You can see it kind of again on the right there, but it talked about preservation and maintenance as a core priority, investments to system resiliency, especially after the flooding and the weather that we received over in the December timeframe, I think is when we got all those storms hit us. So, but yeah, so you can see that's some of the advocacy work that we've been doing. On to the next slide. This was another letter that was sent over in February. Obviously, some of the history going back in the state Good Roads is we were one of the first advocates for the 18th of our state's 18th Amendment that, basically puts that lockbox around our vehicles or our gas tax. And so this was something that was brought to our attention of funds that were getting spent, 18th Amendment protected funds that were getting spent outside that lockbox that we perceived, right? So there was a couple letters that down there in small print that were put out by WSGRTA over 2024 and 2025 that identified some of these funds. And they're not small amounts, right? So you can see here 124 million in 2024 and around 91 million in 2025. So over $200 million in a biennium was spent on funds that we deem that should be spent on 18th Amendment protected things that were spent outside that realm. So that was a letter sent over to the Transportation Committee. If you need copies or want copies of any of these letters, we can provide them for you too as well. So next slide. This was a letter that was sent towards the end of session, end of February, and basically identifying the increase in preservation and maintenance and thanking the legislature for that. But also realizing that we need a long-term approach to these issues, right? We want to see a study be done to basically seeing how these funds are being spent or how are they making a difference? What do we actually do? How do we have a long-term approach? In the budget itself, and I don't know if it was because of this letter we sent forward or not, but there was $400,000 put in the budget for WSGRTA to do a long-term study and approach on Brian or anybody can help me here a little bit with this on the wording they had in there, but on just a study on the long-term outlook of our system in general. So there was money put in that. And again, I don't know if it was a result of the letter we put forward, but I'm sure it couldn't help or couldn't hurt. Couldn't help, couldn't hurt, whatever. But so that is some of the advocacy work that we did over this last session with our board of folks. Also, Charles is not on our board, but Charles helped us out on a lot of stuff. You heard from his presentation earlier, and we brought a lot of partner groups into as well to consult on a lot of this stuff. So next slide. Ongoing work that we've been doing each and every year too. The transportation publishing manual or magazine that gets put out every single year. We get a big spread in that every year. We get 3 or 4 pages in that book. They reached out to us probably around 5 years ago. Asked us if we want to be a part of that publication, excuse me, getting tongue-tied today. And it was at no cost to us. So us being a smaller association, not having a ton of revenue coming in, something like this was huge. So we kind of moved full forward with this and been a part of it for the last 4 or 5 years. That was at the transportation budget signing with the governor. You can see kind of my bald spots there and kind of in the background, not the full bald head, but the bald spots next to him, the gentleman on the right there. So I was kind of in the background there with Billy Wallace is standing there in the back. He's our Liona's main lobbyist down there in Olympia, and he participates in a lot of conversations with us at Good Roads as well. So Representative Fye, Representative Zahn's there too. And Senator Krishna Dawson is the one right to the right of Bob Ferguson there. So got to talk with her a little bit and start building that relationship. I know Chuck Moe with our local 252 has a great relationship with her, but as the president of the Good Roads, got to kind of meet her and thank her for coming to this meeting today, or saying that she was going to come and start building that relationship with her. So got one more slide for you. So we're always asking more people to get involved. Again, I mentioned we meet every Wednesday morning. If you want to kind of get involved and help us shape some of the advocacy work that we do, please reach out to Noel or myself.